Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about 7.0a simplifying rational exponents. So what is a rational exponent? So exponent, if you remember the rational number, so rational numbers are what? Mostly the fractions are the rational numbers, right? So rational exponent is the fraction, right? So if you see the example like this, square root x, then what is the square root x? Square root x is same with x to the half power. Then cube root, right? Cube root is x to the third power. Then fourth root, x to the fourth power. All right. So why we have this? You know. So did you do you remember how to remove the square root? What did you do? You square it, right? You square both sides, and what happens when you square both sides? Square and square root cancel, it becomes x. And then what happened? Power to another power also, you multiply, right? Half times 2. Half times 2 is 1. So x to the 1 power is x. So that's why. So now, so this is the way we simplify the, the rational exponent. So you should remember x to the square and square root of x is x to the half power. Now, how do you remove it? You should understand when you square it, both sides, right? Square and square root cancel, and half power to second power, you multiply the powers, power to another power, you multiply them, and then half times 2 is 1. Likewise, cube root, how do you remove it? What do you think you should do? Square them? No, right? How do you remove the cube root? You cube them. Third power, right? Third times 1/3 times 3 is 1, right? That's why you are going to do the cube both sides. Then it becomes x equal to x both sides, right? Then how about fourth root? Fourth root is 1 to the 1 over fourth power. You should do fourth power. Then it becomes x equal to x. Everybody understand? Now, then how about this? How do you simplify this one? In this case, square root of x, we learn this is a x to the half power, right? X to the half power to the third power again. Then what do? You multiply half and 3 become 3 over 2, right? So x equal x to the 3 over 2 power. This one, again, cube root 1/3 times 5. What do? Multiply 5 over 3. Does it make sense to you? How about here? X squared to the fifth root is x squared of 1/5 root, right? X squared of 1/5 power. So 1/5 times 2 is 2 over 5. So either this, you have any exponent for x or outside, go to the numerator, and this cube square root or cube root or fifth root, these things go to the what? Denominator. Then in the exponent, we call this is a rational exponent. Where this power go? This square for the variable x inside the square, inside of the radicals, we call these symbols radical, right? Square root, cube root, fifth root. Inside the powers goes to the numerator, or outside is okay. Outside, inside doesn't matter eventually. This is same with those x to the fifth power, all right? In the cube root. And these powers go to the numerator, but what is the denominator? Denominator from the square root, even though you don't see anything here, right? You don't see anything here. This is like a 2, invisible 2 is there. 3 go to the denominator, 2 goes to the denominator, 5 go to the denominator. That way you can change the radical right to the rational exponents form, right? Then, so can we simplify this? X squared times x to the third power. What do you do? When you multiply, you add the powers, right? So x to the fifth power. Yes? Like this. You add the powers. How about this? When you divide, what do you do? Same, you should have a same base, right? If the base is different, you cannot do anything. So x to the fifth power divided by x. What do you do? Yes, you subtract the power. So x to the 5. Then what is exponent here? You don't have anything. It's not 0. There's 1. If this 0 power is not x, any number to the 0 power is 1, right? You should be careful. Any number to the 0 power is 1. So to be x has what? 1 power, invisible. You don't need to write down. So what do you do? 5 minus 1, right? When you divide, you can write down this way. Same thing. This is a fraction. It's the same with the division. And then what do you do with the power? You subtract the power. 5 minus 1, which is x to the fourth power. Now let's simplify this one, third one. We learned how to convert each radical form to the rational exponent form, right? You should do that first. This one, how do you change it? Square, this square go to, now this, you change it to the rational exponent. You have the fraction. Then think about numerator and denominator, right? Numerator and denominator. So which one goes to the numerator? Which one goes to the denominator? Simple. This goes to the numerator, and this goes to the denominator. So this one is x to third power. Makes sense? Let's do it here. X to the 2/3 power. How about this one? Numerator is 3. Invisible 2 goes to the denominator. Right? And do not stop here. Look at the steps. After this, what do? You should do now simplify, right? So for multiplication, you add the powers. You simplify the exponent. Because it's a multiplication, you add the powers. Like this. 2/3 plus 3/2. When you add the two different fractions, you have a different denominators. You should find the common denominator, which is 2 times 3, 6, right? Then you change it, each fraction by using the common denominator. 2/3 is 4/6. 3/2 is 9/6. Now both of them has a common denominator. What do? You add the numerators, right? Which is 13/6. Now, when you have a rational exponent in the last step, change it back. You should change it back to the radical form. How do you change it? Now look at this. If it is a mixed number, no, improper fraction, numerator is bigger than denominator, right? Then you change it to mixed number. So 13 is what? How many 6 are in 2? I mean, how many 6 is in 13? 2, 6, right? So you change into the mixed number. 2 times 6 is 12, and the leftover is 1. So you change like x2 and 1, 6. Make sense? This is like 2 plus 1/6. So x squared and x to the 1/6, you can separate. Even though you have many steps, if you go step by step, it's not difficult, right? So 2 and 1/6 is like a addition. 2 plus 1/6. So 2 plus 1/6, you can separate like x to the square times x to the 1/6, right? Then what is 1/6 power? You change it to the radical form. 6th root, right? Denominator is what? The root. This number in front of the radical form here, this number go to the denominator. So we go to the backward, then this number go to this part, right? So 6th root. And then 1 go to the inside x to the 1 power, which is just x. And you are done, all right? Everybody understand? So let's try with error analysis. Can you find out which step is an error? And can you correct it, the mistake? So Veronica did this 3. So converted this radical form into the rational exponent, right? Oh, so this cube root, in this case, go to the denominator, perfect. This one go to the numerator, perfect. But how about the first one? This is numerator, okay. How about, this is 1? What do you have here? Invisible 2. This is an error. So this is not 3/1. This is 3/2, right? Square root. 2 is invisible. Okay, you have a 2 here. Square root is 2. Cube root 3. But 2 is invisible. We don't need to write down because it's very common radical. So even though we don't write down, simply we know it's a 2 is there. But we want to, make it easy. All right. So let's change it again. Like this. 3/2, 2/3, and the division, what do? You subtract. Right? 3/2 minus 2/3. And then common denominator 6 is 9/6 minus 4/6, and become 5/6. And now you change it to the radical form. In the radical form, you have 2 parts, outside of radical and x to the exponent for the variable x. So 5 numerator go to the variable x, exponent of the variable x, and denominator to the which root? 6th root. And you are done. Okay, we'll stop here.